Hello, and welcome to Dead of Night Halloween Productions, Modular Mausoleum Part 4, Framing and Attaching Panels. Materials needed for this build will be 160 feet of half-inch PVC pipe, 8 90-degree 3-way half-inch fittings, 8 90-degree 4-way half-inch fittings, 12 half-inch T-way fittings, 60 to 70 half-inch PVC pipe clamps, 140 small bolts, nuts, and washers, liquid nail, a caulk gun, and a Phillips screwdriver. Hey everyone, welcome back. I know that it's been a while since we've put up a tutorial. I am really sorry about all the delays. We had a huge setback earlier, actually at the end of September, early October, when my 3-year-old son broke his leg and was put into a spica cast, which goes from his chest all the way down to the bottom of his leg. And that has taken up quite a bit of our time just moving him around because right now he can't actually stand up. He's kind of bedridden. Luckily, he is healing. Everything's doing well. He will have the cast off before Halloween so he can go trick-or-treating. But because we've been helping to take care of him, we haven't really been able to work on the mausoleum as much as we want to. But now things are starting to open up a little bit, and we're trying to get this done. I will hopefully have everything up and the final product up by next week, a week before Halloween, so you guys can see what it's looking like. And if you're working on this at home, you can finish up your projects as well. We're going to put on the framing and the attaching the panels and everything today, and next week we will show you how to do the final touches, adding the rock, the trim pieces, and everything else that needs to go on to really make this thing pop and really sell the effect. But for today, let's get started. When we designed this mausoleum, if you remember back to the first episode, we had an idea that we drew up of how we wanted this to look. As we're designing it, we see that there's some things that we have to change, kind of move around, adapt a little bit to make this more realistic to get it done on a timeline. One of the things that we wanted to add to the top was an actual roof, but realistically, with the timeline that we have, especially now with everything that's going on, it's just not going to happen. We're going to have to save that for next year so we can add the detail that we want to it. So right now, we are just going to concentrate on getting the actual framework done and attaching the walls, and then worrying about getting the detail, making it look good for this year, and then we'll come back and start adding a lot of the other pieces that we wanted to add and getting that done for next year. The first thing that you're going to want to do with this is you have to get the PVC fittings, and these are not something that you can find at a Home Depot or a Lowe's. Most hardware stores aren't going to carry these pieces. It's something that you kind of have to order online. So what I did was I found a website that dealt with pieces that will allow you to make PVC furniture and greenhouses. It's called pvcfittings.com. The prices were pretty good. Shipping was a little rough, but it's not anything that's going to break the bank, but it's probably going to cost you about 10 or 15 bucks in shipping. They get all the parts there pretty quick though. This is going to allow you to have the freedom to kind of build the framework that you want to, and it's lightweight, it's easy to move around, you can stake it down to the ground once you get outside, and when you attach these panels, it really solidifies this whole thing and makes it one strong cohesive unit. So again, that's www.pvcfittings.com. I'm sure you guys can find them somewhere else, but this is the website that I used. They got me the pieces within a couple days, and it worked out pretty good. So what I've included here is a sketch that we made showing of how the PVC fittings are put together. As you can see, we have the 90-degree 3-way fittings that are represented by the triangle, the 4-way fittings by the square, and the T-ways by the circle. Obviously, the black and gray bars are the PVC pipes, and how we put this all together to make kind of one giant square. You're gonna need like a rubber mallet or something like that to tap these in. I did not use glue or anything when putting these together because, like I said, this is a modular mausoleum, so after Halloween I want to be able to take this whole thing apart and store it away. One of the things that you can do if you want to make this even more solid is buy some of the electrical zip ties and make sure that they're long, and when you put this whole thing together, tap the pieces in with your rubber mallet and then you can take a drill and drill little holes through the PVC pipes on each side of the fittings and zip tie it all together. That way the zip ties will hold the PVC pipes into the fittings and make sure that they don't move around or come apart, and you can cut the zip ties at the end of the season, pull it apart, and still take apart the PVC frame, so that way you can store it and then put it back together again next year. You don't actually have to glue it together and then figure out where the hell you're going to store a giant PVC mausoleum frame. So that's what we're going to do today, and we get started showing you how we put this together. So I've started building the walls. As you can see, we have here 3-foot sections by 1-foot sections by 3-foot sections, followed by 7-foot poles going across to show the walls. The connectors we have are the 90-degree 4-ways and 90-degree 3-ways, going all the way around. I built 2 of them over here, and I'm about to connect them with these 1.5-foot sections that we're going to use to brace the doorway. So here we practically have the entire finished frame. I've just got a couple support beams going on because I need to buy some extra PVC to finish this up. As you can see right here, I've staked the corners with some heavy-duty ground stakes to make sure that this thing's not moving around at all, and it's actually really sturdy. So things are working well. We're going to go ahead and get the rest of the bricks done and then start attaching them to the framework. So I went to Home Depot to try to find the clamps, the 1/2-inch clamps that would go around the PVC pipe to attach these walls, and I found some plastic ones at first that turned out to be completely useless. Every time I tried to use them, they kept breaking. So I went back and found the copper ones. Actually, they were really cheap. I think a bag of these was only like $1.98, and there was about 10 or 12 in a bag. So I bought about, I want to say like 8 bags right now so far, and they've been working pretty well. Basically all you need to do is put these around the pipe. They're not going to fit at first. You have to kind of bend them a little bit, attach them around, and then use your screws to pop a hole through the drywall so you can see on the other side where they're going to go. Then you go around to the other side, put the screws through the holes that you just popped in it, and then feed them through. I put a washer on mine going up against the brick side of the open cell foam, and then I fed it through the other side, through these fittings, and then attached it with a small nut on the other side. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to screw these on tight to make sure that they attach pretty good, and it actually works really well. You want to stagger them and make sure that they're not too close to the edge. That way, you know, you're not putting a ton of pressure on just a little bit of foam. I like to put these like about maybe 8 to 10 inches from the top, and possibly about 6 inches from the side, if at all possible. Some of them they're not going to be, they're only going to be an inch or so from the side, but the more that you can stagger and make it to where it's in the center of the foam so it's got more support on all sides, the better. Real quickly, I started working on the door that we're going to be using. I just want to show you how this is glued in. Basically, I just took a few pieces of scrap foam and made like a door hitch that I glued on right there. Chiseled out the end so that middle piece could fit into both sides. I'll decorate this up. I'm actually going to, I think, take some of those like little spinning eyes, like those white eyes with the little black irises that shake around on doll's eyes. I'm going to get a few of those, like in big sizes. You can buy them in a bag at Michael's for about $4. And when you put them around there, they're going to make the rivets going in around the whole thing. And then we're going to paint over them. And by the time it's all said and done, I mean, yes, your door will rattle and everything when you go to move it in and out for Halloween. But other than that, it's going to look pretty good. I mean, it'll just sit there stagnant. These doors don't open, so they're not going to be rattling around when trick-or-treaters are coming by or anything like that. So they work really well when you're wanting to make rivets. You can also use them on any cosplay costumes if you guys are into that. What I did here that I'm going to come paint later is I took my Dremel and traced a line going around the whole side. I used a hard edge on one side, a meter stick or a T-square, and to make sure that my line stayed straight, what you're going to see is that your Dremel, if you're using it, it's going to want to kick to the side that it's spinning. So that's the side that you put your hard edge. So when it's trying to kick to the side, when you're trying to make a straight line, it's kicking against that hard edge, and that's holding it in place so you can get a relatively straight line going all the way up. There's probably several other different ways to do it. I'm sure there's people out there that are way better with their Dremels than I am. That's just how I do it. You figure it out how's best for you. We're going to go through, fill these lines with black paint to give them some definition. Then we're going to paint this door. I'm thinking like either a green or a red color. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to use some monster mud to make some rust colors and paint over this door and make it look like it's old. So as you can see here, I painted in the lines, the Dremel lines with the black paint to add some definition. Standing it up against the attached brick walls just to see where I'm going to position it and the kind of trim that I'm going to go around this with. I was actually going to carve this out and actually make a like a passageway, almost like a porch or something like that. I don't quite know how to describe it. An indentation that the door was going to be in, like, you know, you'd have a little bit of a ledge there to add some more definition. The problem is that having this outside and the wind catching it and everything, I didn't want to have a lot of areas that could kind of fall apart or that I'd really have to worry about when this thing's outside. I wanted it to be as solid as possible, so I decided to leave the brick pieces complete and not cut out a door frame. That way it's more solid on the frame, it's more solid to the ground, and then just attach the door on top of it. I'm actually attaching the door with Velcro to the back of this. That way I can pull the door off at the end of the season and then take the panels off. Like I said, this thing needs to be completely modular so I can store it in a shed, and that's what I'm really looking for here. I've decided to go with a dark forest green paint for the door, which I'm going to paint the entire thing and get that done, and then I'm going to go over it with some monster mud that has a rust color to it. Now I was going to show you guys how to make this. It's actually really simple. You just take some drywall compound and mix it with a rust colored paint, kind of mix it in a bowl, and I'd start with a little bit of drywall compound and keep adding it until you get kind of a thick pasty a mixture, but something that's still, you know, smooth enough that you can put on a paintbrush, and then you just start blotting it all over the door. I was actually going to show the process on here, but the place that I learned it from, they have a great tutorial online. If you can search, you know, Fox rusted door for Halloween, and it'll come up as one of the videos. I put the link on Halloween Forum. If you go to www.halloweenforum.com, it's in the do-it-yourself thread, or the step-by-step tutorial thread for how to build the modular mausoleum. You can find it in there, and they do a great job explaining everything. So that's basically how I'm going to do this door. On theirs, they did the entire thing. I'm going to do it in splotches all over it because I want some of that green paint to show through, which I can actually show you right now. So this is the door with the first base coat of rust on there. I'm going to go over this with some different colors, hit it with some yellows, some rain marks. I'm going to use the stain technique that they use to kind of just add some definition and color in here. Right now, this is actually, I just did this tonight, so it's still up there drying, but you can see it's turning out pretty good. So I'll show more pictures as I get more detail on the door, but be sure to check out the website that's on the Halloween Forum. The link is right there. I'll take you right to the YouTube page. It's a great tutorial, and they teach you some really good stuff. If you have any questions about the project or the video, feel free to email us at deadofnighthalloween@gmail.com. And please remember to subscribe to the Dead of Night Halloween production channel by clicking the link above.